If I were to ask you, how healthy does this tree appear? Would you say this tree appears healthy? I'd say sure. Now, what if I asked you, is this tree diseased or susceptible to disease? You then might say, I don't know. So what you're looking at is a locust tree, and then I want to show you something that you may not understand or be aware of. I'm going to show you from an arborist point of view. I'm going to walk backward, which kind of makes me zoom out. So now what you're looking at is a tree. This is a locust tree, somewhat close to the other tree that we said was healthy. Then I'm going to show you what to look for to maybe change your mind, whether or not you need to maybe add a little bit more TLC or some investment in funds into this tree based upon what I see in this tree. So basically, it's kind of common sense. How would you know if your tree was diseased or not? Well, you'd have to look with intent. You'd have to get up close to it. And what I want you to see is what I normally see when I'm looking. I'm looking for oozing spots. You see those oozing spots right there? That's gum or gummosis. It's the resin from the tree that is a reaction to fighting disease in the tree. And then there's a secondary response where there are honey locust borers that are attracted to the necrotic tissue on this tree, which really signifies or signals that this tree is struggling very badly. Okay, and that means that bark is going to be separating from the actual trunk or any part of the tree, like tree branches. And this disease is called Thyronectria canker, also known as locust canker. What it does is just clogs up the vascular system and localized parts of the tree, and it'll cause the death and decline of tree branches and then ultimately to the tree if that disease spreads wildly within the tree. Then going back to kind of my question, how would you know if your tree was diseased, right? Well, sometimes the beginning has to start somewhere, right? Usually. So this would give me a big hint or a tip, that large dead branch on that tree. And if I get up close to it, then I might look for more signs, symptoms, right? So I'm going to go back to the tree I just first started off with. And I've already inspected it, so I know what to look for. And I did discover gummosis. Okay, so that's that resin in the tree that I just mentioned. Okay, so now localized in a lower portion of the tree is showing me or telling me it is fighting disease way down there. So with a disease, in this case it's fungal, it'll transport or translocate that disease to localized parts of the tree, and then you might see various parts of the tree start to die back. I see very minor dieback right there. And then with a professional, just with experience, sometimes seeing something 1,000 times, early detection skills are greater than, say, the average person, right? So the average person would say that's clearly a dying tree. I could say basically, if unattended or no one intervenes and helps that tree, that's a dying tree. Okay, so you may think I'm crazy, but I think I just put a pretty good case for I'm not. What can you do? Well, what we offer are trunk injections. So it's a systemic trunk injection. And what we're doing is we're drilling holes around the tree. We insert what is called a injection plug, or I like to call it a receiver plug, where it can then we tap that through, and I'll show you what that looks like. So this is what it looks like. It is a plug that is lightly barbed, so when you tap it in, it stays in. This also has 4 little slits, so the dispersal of the fluid kind of goes multi-directional inside. There is a very light colored, you can't see it, there's a septum inside that's white colored. So we stick a ginormous needle into that, and we pull that needle back out. There's no fluid loss. Okay, so then how our injections work from that point is we're using the plumbing or the kind of the plumbing work of the tree to then translocate fungicide within the tree to fight or suppress particular fungal diseases and or bacterial and diseases. So what I would say is trees that even look really good right now, but are yet susceptible to basically an epidemic that's happening around the Front Range, is what I'm saying is it would be a good idea to have your locust trees injected to protect them.